Hi guys, Luca here from Airsoft, and I know it's been a while since I put out a video. I've been busy doing tech work, and I'm honestly quite lazy when it comes to editing videos. It's a lot of effort. But someone rightly pointed out on one of my videos recently, I think it was the most recent one, that there's not really actually that much info out there about this, the G&G SGR 556. Now, I've had this now for just over a year, about a year. I basically got it on launch. As evidence of this, the serial number is 028. So it was one of the very first to land in the UK. I don't know who's got the low numbers. I do know someone who had the serial number 69. They had to send that back, unfortunately. Can't quite remember the reason why. I think he had some minor issues, and the shop didn't really given the right advice, I think. Can't quite remember the details. And so he had to send it back, and unfortunately it was just a straight replacement, so he lost that coveted nice serial number. Anyway, what's good about it, what's bad about it? So the good things about it, out of the box, it sounds fantastic, and I should have got a battery out ahead of time, but I'll get one now. And hopefully it comes through okay on the microphone, on the video. If, by the way, you do hear a fan, that's because I finally got a heater for in here, and it's cold, so I'm using it. Right, so it does have a MOSFET and an ECU built in, out of the box. So we're going to use an 11.1, which is what I used on this for the past year, and I've used this thing near enough every single day, well, every single weekend of the year. Well, this year in particular, I pretty much used it every single day. So some of the features of it are it's programmable MOSFET, and you can program that in the more typical way with trigger pulls, etc., or the easier way with the included remote. And this, I love this. You can adjust how sensitive the trigger is. You can enable or disable auto cutoff. That's right, when you run out of ammo with this, doesn't matter what mag you're using, it will stop shooting. I'll demonstrate that in a moment. You can do 3-round burst, 5-round burst, or full auto. And I'll just do a quick, just to see how snappy it is. So, safe, obviously, it's safe. Semi. Okay, really quick. Full auto, pretty decent. You know, there are quicker. It's not liking that. I think the battery's a bit dying actually. Let's see if my other battery's got more charge on it. Yep, then one. So I'll just try the other battery. Usually that sound means that it's running low on power. There you go, you can hear that, look. That's out of the box, I have done nothing to that. Super fast, super responsive. Honestly, it's been a fantastic gun. The only thing that I've changed on this, and if you go back and watch my videos, you'll see what I've changed. I changed the upper receiver because it broke. And that was entirely my fault, wasn't the manufacturer's fault. And the hop rubber as well, I changed to a quantum bucking and nub. And that's all I've changed. I have changed literally nothing else. So if we wanted 5-round burst, put it on safe, press the 5, and now it's 5-round burst. Alright, 3-round burst. Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, I want to DMR it. Now it's semi-locked. So, really easy, really quick. Love this. It was a bit of a pain to pair it, but that's because the instructions weren't hugely clear. So that's pre-cocking as well, which, honestly, with how fast the motor is, doesn't really make that much difference. I'll go disable pre-cocking. Say you've got the cut-off as well, which if I enable that, you should find, now I've fired a shot, until I press this, the bolt release, but as I say, mine's Mine's a bit funny. Mine is starting to go. There we go. So that is a thing that everyone said would eventually break, and they were absolutely right, and I fully expected it, so I'm not surprised that it did. But the gun still works without it, and it was a neat gimmick. But honestly, if you're any good at the game, you'll know when you're out of ammo anyway. You can hear it. If you haven't learned how to hear it yet, start learning how to hear it, because you can catch so many people out when they run out of ammo, but they don't realise it, but you do. Use it to your advantage. But as I say, I've had it for a year. I've done barely anything to it. I haven't taken advantage of one of its biggest features, and that is one that they have clearly stolen from ICS. And that is, it's got a split gearbox. I'll have a look at that now. So unlike a typical M4 AEG, where you would remove this front pin and then slide the upper off, this is more like an actual M4, in that you can just remove the back pin. He says it might still be a pain. It can be a bit stiff, just be gentle with it. There we go, it was still pre-cocked. So I'm just going to reset this sector gear real quick. As you do need to make sure it's in the right position. So to do that, semi, hold down the bolt release and pull the trigger and hold. There we go. It's not quite reset because the tappet plate interface is not quite in the right position. There we go. Now it's in the correct position. If that's not all the way forward, you're going to have a bad time when it comes to putting it back together. Okay, right. Now that that's been reset, we can pull the bolt carrier group out, which includes the barrel, which we're going to replace today, among other things. So I'll just put this back in together and out of the way. He says. There we go. Let's say the rear pin on mine is a bit stiff, your mileage may vary. As I say though, I've not felt the need for speed. And by that I mean I've not felt the need to upgrade this. This has been stock, apart from very recently the hot rubber and nub. Because it does, it outranges most things out of the box. In my local field, there's very few places where people are out of range. There are a few, but very few. And compared to everyone else's guns, this outranges a lot of them. The only people that outrange me usually are people with DMRs or people with sniper rifles that are actually tuned and not a piece of crap. So I 100% recommend this gun. For the price point, I think it's now about 500 retail. When I got this, it was about 470 at launch, but it has gone up since then. And for that, for what you get, it's great for CQB. It's got a quick change spring, which you just saw how quickly you can get this out. It's really easy. So it's got a quick change spring, programmable MOSFET. It's got a very snappy semi, and it's got a really decent rate of fire in general. I don't think you need any more than what this thing can put out. The only thing that I found is out to about 50 meters, you start to see the accuracy really drop off, which is what I'm hoping to try and change today. And that's about it, really, if I'm honest. That's the only things that I found and had issues with. Well, apart from the broken receiver, but again, my fault, not the guns. Anywho, first, I should have chronoed this. I already know what it is, but for your sake, I'm going to get the gun back. And we're going to chrono it with what it's got at the moment. Right, let's get a mag. And then let's get my speed loader, which I know has freeze in. Again, still do not recommend buying this thing. Just spend the extra money and get the Vanguard if you want to get one, or just get an Odin for half the price, and you'll have a much better time. That'll do. Don't want to completely fill it. Right. Now I'm sure someone's going to say something along the lines of, why would I spend 500 quid on something which has proprietary parts? Because it does. I will concede that. When I can get myself a CM16 and just upgrade that. Like, if you can upgrade it yourself, go for it. You will save money. Absolutely. But if you don't know what you're doing, this is much better option for you, because otherwise you're going to end up spending another 200 quid on top of the 150 odd or whatever it costs now for the initial gun, and you're not going to be far off what this costs out of the box. Also, combat machines are great, but there's better options out there now for beginner ones. Right, so point freeze, come on, there we go, point freeze. Make sure it's feeding fine. Yep. So at the minute, 1.09. See if we can get rounds per second out of it. It'd help if I put it on full also. So I'll just enable that. There we go. Just get a quick idea of how many rounds per second it is. 29. I don't think you can complain about that, really. 29 rounds per second with a fresh battery. That's pretty darn good. As I say, 1.06. We'll look at the consistency. It's pretty consistent, I'd say. Some odd ones in there, but pretty darn good. What are we sticking in this thing? What fun are we having? Well, we are putting in, potentially replacing the piston head, cylinder head, and barrel, pretty much, and potentially the nozzle, but I don't feel like we're going to be able to do that one. And the cylinder. I just want to see what condition it's in now after a year of near weekly use. If you ever take this gun apart in any capacity for any reason, before you do anything, always reset the sector gear. You'll save yourself a lot of headaches. I quite like the stock as well. It's a little bit loose, but the buffer tube isn't. Okay, sit down time. So let's start with the barrel. That's probably the, not necessarily easiest, but one of the easier things we can do. The barrel we're sticking in this is a longer barrel, so I will need to check that it actually works inside it, because I don't think it's going to go through the flash either. However, it is a 6mm type ball barrel, not 6.02, 6mm, due to a manufacturing error. That was a lovely Pete over at AK2M4 that has gracefully, very generously allowed me to give money in order to get some goods from him. Please allow me to continue doing so, Pete. You sell good parts at affordable prices. A friend of mine who also does tech work absolutely swears by these 6mm barrels. So we're going to see if it's found any actual, like, found in reality. Oh, I hate these clips. I mean, I love these clips, but I also hate them. I love them because they are genuinely really, really good, but I hate them because they are a pain to remove. There we go. Right, so keep that off to one side. We try and pull this off without tearing it. Okay. Just have a quick inspection. Yep, still pretty darn good. So this is 6mm completely, and we're going to see first off if we can actually swap the barrel. The notches do appear to be the same. Yes, they are. Excelente. Lovely jubbly. The window is slightly bigger on this one. And as I say, you can see how much more barrel we're getting here. Not a huge amount, but it's enough that hopefully it makes a nice bit of difference. I'm just going to have a quick inspection down and make sure it's clean and not Got any waves or anything? Yep, that is perfectly smooth compared to the original. Yeah, again, the original, very good quality barrel. It's brass, fine, but it is still a very good quality barrel. So let's install this one. A friend of mine very much is adamant about how good these barrels are and how they're the best things ever. So let's find out. Okay, seems to clip in okay. Let's just check to make sure that oh yeah, that's still working absolutely fine. Spring. Does the spring go on there? Yes, because the spring pushes back. There we go. That's what I wanted. Make sure it's actually straight. Looks to be okay. So it's good hop arm. I don't like the way that the hop is applied. It's basically down the barrel. There is a basically it's a pin that comes down and it pushes this outer barrel here, which then engages the hop there. I would have preferred a rotary hop, but it does work. There is no question about the fact that it works. And thanks to the quantum bucking and nub, you don't need to apply very much in order for that to work. Right, that's that. I do want to quickly see if that's going to be okay, or if I'm going to have to remove the flash hider and get myself a new suppressor. I imagine I'm going to need to get a suppressor, which is fine. I've been meaning to get one anyway. Do this slightly off camera. Yeah, as I suspected. It goes most of the way through, but yeah, that last little bit. So we shall remove the flash hider. There we go. So there we go. Does still work, but got that much extra barrel sticking out the end. The barrel length of this, of the one that comes with the gun, is 330mm, which I knew when I purchased this extra long barrel. But something worth noting, that if you are going to replace the barrel, you will need to replace the flash hider, or you could bore out the flash hider, because I think, yeah, it'd probably be alright if you bored out the flash hider a bit. That's my dog going nuts, as she just heard something outside somewhere. So, next up, after that quick change, is all of this in here. So, spring first. So we're at 109, we're aiming for, I want to see if we can get to 1.8 and then go from there. With the extra barrel, I'm going to change the cylinder out anyway to a full cylinder, just because I can, because I'm not going to short stroke this thing. Okay. Absolutely caked in grease, because I put loads on it out of annoyance. If you don't know, G&G springs are a little bit too short usually, or so I'm told, and that's what gives it that twang sound that they're so infamous for. So now that's out. So one way this does differ from an ICS split gearbox is the tappet plate. So on an ICS one, you have the full tappet plate coming down, whereas in this, G&G must have been observing and learned and realised that if they do this block interface here, then it's less likely to break. Yes, it does. There's no sense in removing those clips if I don't have to. Go. Completely pointless to have that. It is purely aesthetic, because you can't even adjust the hop. Right, and unlike a lot of G&G gearboxes, the screws are on the right side, not on the wrong side like they are on the combat machines. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, which are Torx T8H apparently. So I have had this open once before, but that was a long time ago. And that was just to grease up that spring to stop it twanging at me all the time. Okay, so the only spring that should be in here is the tapper plate. Go, nice and easy, give that a bit of a clean up. I've actually had a lot of people ask me what I've done to this gun in the year that I've been using it. And as I say to them every single time, nothing. I have done nothing to it apart from change bucking, and even then that was only a recent thing. Purely because the one it came with was wearing out. Because if you didn't know, bucking is a consumable. So we'll give this a bit of a clean up. See how it looks. So this is the original piston, and honestly I don't see any problem with the piston. It's got a full metal rack. I don't see any undue wear. So there's a little bit extra wear here, but that is likely from when I had the broken receiver for a year. I don't think that wear is from bad design or bad AoE or anything like that. I think it is purely from my own mistake. So I don't see anything particularly untoward. Perfectly usable, I think. I'll see if I can swap it out for the SHS piston head there. This is the sensor. Now this one does like to come apart, so be careful with it. This is your optical sensor that reads when it's ran out of ammo. I'm just having a look now to see if there's any much dirt. See if there's any indicator as to why it's starting to fail. No, it doesn't look dirty or anything. It just it looks absolutely fine. Put that carefully to one side. There we go. Nozzle. Ooh. Nozzle looks okay. It's made of metal, which is nice. It's got an O-ring in it, which is again nice. But I think that is quite a bit shorter than your standard nozzle. I don't think I've ever seen a nozzle that dizzy. 14.8mm. That is tiny. So there you go. If the nozzle ever goes, because it's G&G, that right there is your proprietary part. So your nozzle has to be 14.8mm. I'm actually going to keep them out because I want to know as well if there's come on, let's have a look at the piston cylinder real quick. It looks okay. I think these O-rings are starting to go though. And the cylinder head's taken quite the bashing here. If we compare that to an aftermarket one, see if there's any real size difference. Yeah, so then obviously, oh boy, yeah. So you can see where the nozzle has been pushing up against the top here. See how well that comes through? So you see where it's worn off all that paint there. And if you ever wanted an example of what mid-cap syndrome is, that's it right there. That's where, as the BBs are pushing the nozzle up, it's dragging it across that. So we can't change that out. That has to be proprietary. We'll just test the air seal real quick. What air seal? No, there is an air seal there. There is an air seal. But there's not great air seal, if I'm honest. I want to swap the cylinder out anyway. Dropping stuff. Let's compare. I think these are similar in volume. In fact, this has got less volume. That's interesting. No, it's the same volume. Yeah, why not? I'm being silly with it. Why not? So, keep the piston, change the piston head. Keep the cylinder head, because we have no choice. And see if this cylinder fits in it. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. We can certainly give it a try. Brushy brush. What was I brushing? This is what I was brushing. too far. Ow. There we go. Yep. Looks okay to me. So we're going to try this with just replacing the barrel cylinder, and still not sure if I want to replace the piston head. Do I, don't I? There's nothing wrong with G&G parts, they make good parts. As I say, for a year's use, I'm not seeing much, if any at all, wear. It's really, really, really holding up. So let's ruin that. Let's ruin that, why not? Tap it plate, or tap it half. Where's my nozzle? There it is. You'll note that I'm not gluing this in, even though it keeps falling off. Why? Because we do not glue stuff in guns unless we absolutely have to and have zero choice. Which we always have a choice. And the choice is, don't glue stuff. So it's not really a choice. Just don't do it, guys. It's just, you don't need to. Oh, don't be an arse. Before we properly pop that in, we'll pop this over the top. There we go. Of course, the protective plates fall off. Make sure it's all seated in line properly. Where did that go? There you are. This just loves to fall off. So, what questions have we answered so far? Can you replace the cylinder head? No, proprietary. Can you replace the nozzle? No, proprietary. Can you replace the cylinder? Yes. Piston? Yes. Piston head? Yes. Spring? Yeah. Spring guide? No, it's quad lug. So that's what we've answered. Do you need to? No, not really. Well, the parts that I'm replacing are about the only things that are going to give me a benefit anyway. If you want to replace absolutely everything in your gun, should you get this gun? No. If you want a good gun out of the box, should you get it? Yes, absolutely. Now obviously, replacing those stuff, I'm doing a little bit of experimenting here, just out of boredom more than anything. You don't have to do any of this. If you're engaging, like if your average engagement is around 30 meters or even 50 meters, honestly, none of this needs to happen. I'm just being weird. Okay, there we go. So we'll put the original in first, and then we'll see if we can, what we can do. And I just want to double check that everyone is right, because everyone always says it's shorter, and yes, it is. It's shorter than normal springs. The more you know. I've also heard it allegedly comes with an M110. However, in the UK, I don't think that's the case, because the UK power limits are lower than a lot of the world's. Cool. So original spring, but full cylinder now, type all barrel. Let's see how she performs. So what I want is to be able to use this as a DMR or a normal AD by just swapping the spring out. That's what I want and is my goal. So with those changes, it might now be too spicy and we need to put an M90 in there. Right, and that goes in there. Double check that it still functions. Yep, seems like it does. There we go, wait freeze. 1.09. So we haven't changed the damn thing. Okay. That's fine. So I know that the spring that I've got in there now, the one that came with it, will keep me under the limit for AEGs with an extended barrel. And if you're wondering how I'm going to sort that, I'm going to borrow the suppressor off of my friend's rifle that I've borrowed for the last year and a half, if not 2 years. I'm sure he won't mind, at least until I can get a better one. I'm not a fan of that one, if I'm honest. I'm just going to quickly do that. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's just a bit longer now. Right, anyway, let's swap that spring out. I'm going to try, not an M130, let's try an M110 first. And this is why I wanted this in the first place. So, M110. Yeah, that's correct. Can't help but rattle off a few shots. So again, 0.3. Oh, that was a double shot. So we've gone up to 1.15 with an M110, 1.19, 1.2. So we'll call it 1.2 on 0.3s. Cool. So that was an M110, so let's try the M120. Bit concerning that it was doing a double shot there though. It does like to do binary every now and then. We don't want that. So, M110. And the reason I'm doing this is because there are literally no videos of anyone doing this and seeing what they can get for different spring powers. Now, not all springs are the same. These are XT springs. So if you were to use garters, for example, you might find you get different results. So keep that in mind. Don't take this as gospel. And remember, I have changed the cylinder to the full cylinder. But that's just the volume of air, that's not the pressure. If I change the piston head, I might find that I get another increase. But I can't change the cylinder head, so I didn't see much point. And I can't change the nozzle either. So, M110, great success. M120, what do we get out of that? So, M120, still the same fire rate-ish. Blank again, 0.3s. Now we're getting there, 1.43. So you're starting to see the gradients and jumps. We're getting about, I'll just reset itself, we're getting like 0.2 per change here. Okay, let's try an M130. I'm not going any higher than an M130. So I want one spring for DMR, one spring for AAG, and to be able to just swap between them depending on my mood or the site that I'm playing at. Finally, an M130. Again, if there is still more headroom, which I expect there will be, I will go and get stronger springs and try those out as well. I don't have any with me at the minute though. Still, it's a little bit more whiny now, but still okay. We're still okay. Point freeze. I can live with that. So if we're going up by, we're at what, 1.46 before, 5, 6, so we're going up about 0.2 joules per spring change, so we'll probably end up over the limit if we go up another. Done. Hopefully that answers some questions about this. I love this gun, I genuinely do. It works with any mag, but I quite like using these new Pro Stanags. Works with 11.1s, 20Cs. Are these 20Cs? Yep, 20Cs. And you can hear the rate of fire. It's a good rate of fire. Yeah, not enough people have these. Go get them. They're really good. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm still waiting on parts for some guns. And I don't put everything up because some things are just boring, if I'm honest, and they take forever and I can't be asked to edit. So that's why they don't go up. I have got some interesting things coming up. BMP2's on pre-order, so waiting on that to be released, as I am curious about that one. I might be able to get my hands on the new Glock from Delta Armory, which again I'll do a bit of a review video on, some testing with. And that's it for now. Anyway, catch you on the next one.